So we're back here at the 49th annual World of Wheels here in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I'm with some elites this morning on Saturday morning, and it's I got the honor with Thomas Estrada, of course, our Rat Fink artist. So he had to come yesterday and tell me that there's another famous Rat Fink Roth person in the house. So he introduced me to Trixie. So welcome to the show.
Well, thank you.
And it's Eileen, but you just go by Trixie, right?
Trixie's beautiful for car shows.
Trixie's
Yes.
beautiful for car shows.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, and who you are to the public is that you were married to the famous Ed Roth.
Yes.
And now you're carrying on the legacy and going to the shows and everything that we were just talking about all around the country with you and your family.
Yes, and it's definitely our honor to carry on Ed's legacy.
Yes, and we had a couple conversations before that you were with Ed a short time, but we were just talking about how you find that person, and you thought you and Ed were like soulmates. It really worked out good for you two.
Yes, it felt like I lived my whole life in the 3 years that we were able to be married and share before his passing. And it's crazy to know that he's been gone so long, but I still feel he's on my shoulder directing me because there's no way I could have survived without his influence for sure.
Right. And he was, and 3 short years, but I love how you said that. Can you say that again? In 3 years, you said you lived a whole life in 3 years.
Yes. I was so fulfilled. It was amazing to find a soulmate and feel you found the other half of you.
We've been doing this for a while now with podcasts and talking to other people and celebrities and artists and just the average people. But Jess and I do this a lot, and I tell us right to other people too that once you finally find that person to go through, and like I'm thankful every day for Jess and how we found each other. You and I just talked about this, how you weren't sure, and you talked about it too. At a certain age in your life, you're like, yeah, I'm done. I'm okay. I'm just checking out and I'll just be by myself. But out of nowhere, it comes around, and everybody who I've had on the show who have given thanks to, like Chip Foose, all these other guys, Dave Kindig, even Keith Eccles. It's always about the other half in their life that have gotten this far.
Yes.
Very few. I mean, there's some single guys out here that are great artists though too, but some of the big, I want to say, elites or power couples, they really, the first time I get them on here, the first thing they do is they give props and credits to their other half.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing. So this is a little bit reverse role, because now Ed's passed and you're here talking about him how, and so you're talking about Ed, and it was the other half. These guys are talking about how their wives support him. So this is really cool.
Yep. Yeah. Ed directed me. He taught me without me being aware that he was teaching me, and he had a very gentle way of showing me new things.
Okay.
And so when we would travel, it was amazing to see what things that I picked up on.
Mm-hmm.
And the neatest thing is that after every show that we attended, he'd say, so what did we learn from this?
Really?
And I still do that today. I keep thinking, all these neat experiences, what did we really learn from today? And every single day, when you think about that, it's amazing what you reflect back on and what in turn end up becoming really important to you. And what I really learned is the appreciation that Ed had for the people. And when we travel throughout the world, he just loved the people. He was such good friends with them. And I've been really blessed to end up having a lot of amazing friends because I accepted Ed and I married him, and then all these other blessings. It's just like, wow.
I can tell just by talking to you when I first got to meet you this morning, and we were talking about it. And I think we talk about it at every show. It's the experience that we get from these shows, good, bad, or otherwise. Like yesterday, a couple, we were talking to people back home, and they said, "How's the show out there?" Because every show is different.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yeah.
And yesterday, I said it was really slow. It was a little different. I said, not as many people were out here, but the experiences that we get from being out here, and sometimes you get a one-on-one with somebody that out of nowhere, you could be out there the whole week long, and all it takes is that 10 or 15-minute experience. Is so great. And you remember that. You remember that from every show. I could tell you stuff from years back and going back forth. And like last night, out of nowhere, we had a celebrity up on the stage up there, Stephen Piercy from Rat. Out of nowhere, he decided to come over here and start talking to us. And then another, that was just showing you drew on our wall.
Yes,
So, I was going to leave early yesterday. My God, there's nothing going on. And then, so if I would have left,
you
I,
would have missed
I would have
that.
missed the whole experience of
Right.
my whole youth and the rock star guy coming over here. So it is. It's about the experience. And that is the reason why I love doing this with other people is to get to know other people and what you're doing. And you told me stories before, and I'm like, I'd love to talk to you.
Yeah.
So it's great. So now 3 short years, and he passed away. You said in '01,
Yes.
and you've been carrying on the legacy way longer than you guys were together.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
So I consider, we've had our 25th anniversary together.
that is so cool. That is so
But
cool.
anyway, it's been amazing.
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
We have
And the neat thing is all the sparkles of the memories. You know,
And-
I never will run out of sparkles. Yeah.
that's a good saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always goes through, and I think every time, no matter what you have, I mean, you're always smiling just talking about the memories.
Yeah.
Of what
Yeah.
you have to go through. So when you first started, we touched base before on what you said. You said you had no idea who he really was. I didn't tell you who he really was. When you first met him, right? Is this correct?
That is correct. When he moved to Manti,
And
I met him because I was working at the courthouse and he just came in to get some plats of his property.
okay.
5 years later, he was going through a divorce. He came into the office a little more regular. And 5 years after that, we had our first date, which was breakfast.
And this is where he
And
proposed
he
to you.
proposed to me after about a 2.5 hour breakfast. And I told him I was honored that he asked me to marry him, but I said I really need to pray about it because that was moving a little bit
A little too fast.
fast. Yeah. And so for the next 3 weeks, every evening we would spend together. And he would come to the house, enjoy the family. And I thought, wow.
And how old were the kids at this time? Your
Okay.
kids?
My youngest was 7, the other 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did they think about him right away?
They got along with him amazingly well. And so I accepted his proposal. And then he brought me,
How long? So after you accept the proposal,
it took 3 weeks.
3 weeks for you to
3
decide.
weeks. Yeah.
One hell of a guy.
Yeah. And anyway, one evening he brought a book and he said, you may or may not want to read this, but I just had a book published and thought you might be interested in looking at it. And he flips it open a couple of pages and in there was his testimony. And he said, I didn't care what they printed in the book necessarily, but they had to put this in or they wouldn't publish it. And so he closed the book and we set it down, went in, had the meal, visited. And that night when he left, I was flipping the lights off and I thought, I wonder what's in that book.
You're curious.
And I sat down on the love seat, turned the lamp on, flipped a couple pages, and I'm like, he builds cars? I had no idea.
So you didn't know for a long time that who he really was.
No.
Wow.
And then my life changed, and I was the highest respect. I have the highest respect for everything that he did.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, how cool is this that I get to share with the person that has made me whole? I get to share whatever they did,
And he was open to share that with you right
Oh,
away.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's
so
amazing.
It was so much fun. Yeah.
And right away, did you start doing shows with him right away?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And you said you kind of retired from, or you kind of quit your job to go with Ed then too, right?
Well, with Ed, he told me to keep my day job.
He told you to keep
So
the day
I
job.
kept my day job until just 4 years ago.
Okay.
So yes, I traveled on weekends and we'd do car shows and then I would come back and work through the week and then head out again for the weekend.
So were you pretty much a homebody before this? Like you didn't really travel a lot?
I didn't travel too much. No,
And then you're going with the man who travels all the time.
all the time.
So you go through and you go through and you do this all the time. And it's so that was pretty much a different life for you right away.
Yes, because I consider myself a pretty shy little girl.
And getting in the forefront with one of the biggest names in the industry.
It was the hardest thing for me to expand.
Did you know? So when did you know that he was a larger than life character? When was the first time?
Well, after the proposal, he asked me to fly down and help him do the show at New Orleans at the Superdome.
Okay.
And he picked me up at the airport. We had our little walkie-talkies. He picks me up and we drive to the Superdome, and then all of a sudden here comes walk in, see all the cars. My first experience at an indoor car show.
So those are even one of your first experiences
Oh,
also.
yeah. And I was so overwhelmed. And he walks me to the booth, and I see a great big long line of people. And I thought, I wonder what they're doing. And they were waiting for him to come back so they could get his autograph.
And stuff.
And I'm like, whoa.
Then you knew it was the real deal, huh?
And that was the first time I had seen Rat Fink products.
So you didn't even know about the products.
And-
Nothing. He didn't tell you nothing about this?
And everything was just all brand new to me. And I thought, well, I definitely need to step up the game. And
Yeah.
so that was my first show.
That was your first show.
Yes. And there was a lot of neat things that also happened at that show.
Okay.
The next morning, they always let vendors in hour early to straighten the booth.
Yeah.
And a couple guys walked in with us, and one had a great big cooler, and he sets the cooler down and he's wanting to purchase some things. And so I help him, and then I straighten the booth, and then I finish. So I walk out of the booth and stand by Ed, and I hear him say to this gentleman, so you told me to start with earlier this morning that you knew how to draw Rat Fink. He says, do you still know how? And Ed says to him, and the man said to Ed, yes, I still draw Rat Fink. And Ed said, if they ever do a movie about me, would you consider playing me? And
Really?
the man said, yeah. And so now the show's going to start. The man goes up to the box office, and Ed and I are in the booth. That night, he says, do you remember the gentleman we were talking to early this morning? And I says, yeah, I remember. He says, did you know who it was? And I said, I had no idea, because I was overwhelmed,
With everything that was going on, for sure.
Right. It was John Goodman.
Really?
And so years later, Ron Mann out of Canada did Tales of the Rat Fink. And Ron Mann actually asked John Goodman to be Ed's voice in the Tales of the Rat Fink. And so...
And you were there for the first part.
I shared that event that I had experienced when we did the premiere of the movie in Toronto. Ron Mann had no knowledge that Ed had had a conversation with John. But he says, well, that must have been why he just accepted quickly. So
He accepted it so fast.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, what I learned early on is just let everything flow. You don't understand it. It's all new experiences.
Yeah.
But take it in, and, if it's to be, it'll all work out.
I think it goes through as and we talk pretty much on every podcast, we talk about every day you can learn something new from somebody.
Yes.
No matter, I don't care who you are, how much education you have, what it is, whether we learn it from the oldest person room to the youngest person room. If you keep an open mind and, you drop your egos in the walls, you can learn something every day.
Yeah.
And I just want to let you know that I know yesterday you had a long day, but Mike actually, who is a gift here, Mike Hill, one of your artists here, he just sat on the floor behind you, by the way, so it's so cool. He's waving right now at the camera, but he just finished an amazing piece of artwork on the wall that we told you going to do. So because I asked you when you came in, I said, do you draw it on? You said, absolutely not. I can draw my name. So two of your artists came over here. Mike and his wife came over here,
Yeah.
and I asked him if he would do it. So he finished it up. We'll show you in the end here. So it's
Perfect.
good. So
Perfect.
he's chilling on the floor right next to you, just so you know.
Nice. Nice.
But I think I think with every morning or every day you have something going through and learning something from somebody new every day, and you have licensed artists now that I was going to touch base with you too on that. You jumped in this industry so fast with him. You go in from one day setting up the booth, and I talk again. We refer back to relationships, and the same thing with Jess that she's in with me, and she handing flyers at one of my shows.
Uh-huh.
That's how it started, and now she's full swing with my crew, and she's making sure she puts posts on her social media every morning, and she's all in. So I think this story is so cool because it reminds me of how we started, and I just obviously what she has going on, and I'm just all willy nilly talking to everybody. That's what I love doing,
Uh-huh.
and I do all stuff, and she makes sure I'm in order all the time and doing stuff, and because we forget we're guys, we talk, and next thing you know, like an hour goes by or 2 hours, like, oh my gosh, we should have been somewhere. So I think it's really neat how you jumped in so fast. And it's the show circuit is something totally different that people don't understand. It's one thing being in a shop and running a shop with somebody, but going to the shows and being on the circuit and doing this for a weekend, it's a lot of work. You just came in this morning and your feet were sore and everything like that too. And even my young crews, they understand. You start walking buildings 3, 4, 5, sometimes 10, 12 times a day, and
Right.
even going back and forth in a booth, it takes a lot on your body.
Yes.
And plus every time you get a good conversation, nope, they left, and now you just started a whole nother conversation. So you're
Right.
talking for 14, 16 hours a day.
Right.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, though, it's the most rewarding thing that you ever could ever experience.
of course.
It's just unreal.
I love the stories.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love. I think you do too.
Yeah.
The stories. I'm sure there's so many with Roth and whatever. And the thing, I mean, the reason why I'm on this tour is this thing. I'm touring with the Evil Knievel stuff, so we get. But the stories that people come through with, it's just amazing.
Right.
And I looked at your. I mean, Roth. I mean, who doesn't know the Roth family and the history? It's everybody knew about it. So
Well, and every time someone says, "Can I give you another Ed story?" It's like, please do. And
yeah.
when you receive an email and you have a Ed story, or you receive an order and someone puts a little teeny little note, it's like the warmest feeling ever.
You're
And
still
it's
living it.
like, now I can make it through this day,
To make it through this day.
Yeah.
Like you said, Ed's always on your shoulder every morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and going through. And now you've done a lot of great things since then. Like you've got the museum going on that you just showed me pictures of,
Yes.
and a lot of people love to see that. And I think you said before you weren't sure if you'd fill it all the way up,
Right.
and it's
And
way full now, isn't
and
it?
the Big Daddy needs a bigger garage is the way we have our little donation collection thing there. But it's filled with a lot of love,
Mm-hmm.
and all the artists that I meet, I want to make sure I have at least one of their pieces in there, because when Ed went to car shows, he enjoyed finding out about everything everyone else was doing, and his passion was people. He loved them, and he had a lot of talent, but he also would look at their talent too and compliment them on their new build, their art piece.
And the artists. Now, I guess let's touch base on that. So, like, obviously, one of the biggest artists that I know of, and he's a good friend of mine, is Thomas Estrada,
Uh-huh.
who's a certified, I guess you would you call it licensed Rat Fink artist.
Uh-huh.
So that is one thing that Ed established early on in the industry, because he could only do so many drawings. So he had other artists come in and do his artwork, so he could do the more of the T-shirts. And it started as a T-shirt and poster brand, really, and then he was doing the models and everything.
Yeah.
And so over the years, artists came through. And again, this morning when you and I were talking, the couple came over, Mike Hill and his wife, and they came over, and they're part of your artist crew.
Mhm.
And Thomas is, and of course, Keith Eccles does a couple things. So you have a lot. Is there more artists that you sign up all the time, or how does this work?
Yes. If they have Ed spirit in their art,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Yeah.
And then you're the one in charge of that.
Yes.
Now, because it was the torch was passed on to you, of course.
Right.
So
Right.
it goes through. How many artists are there out there right now? That are
Uh,
licensed artists.
I would think I have around 50 licensed
50.
artists. Yeah.
And now the name, and well, the name was around, branded all across the country before you even got to be with Ed. So when you known it was worldwide, was that another shocking industry to you too?
That was amazing.
That was amazing.
My first experience going to Japan with Ed and seeing how Rat Fink was over there. And all day long at the show, it
Yeah.
was just us signing
All day
items,
long.
shaking
Yeah.
people's hand. And
It,
it went all day long. And I'm thinking, wow. And then a few years
it's
later,
Japan. Our Americana culture is huge in Japan.
yes.
It's so amazing. It really is how they love it so much.
And then we had the opportunity to go to tour in Australia. And then my eyes really opened.
Really,
So that was way fun.
it is amazing how one man has touched the world by basically starting out as a cartoonist and his ideas that were in his head all the time with the weird things that he created back then.
Yeah.
And a good friend of ours too. Then I think you know Dave Shutton then also.
Yes. Yeah.
And Dave's showroom is just amazing, and it's like a step back in time. And I've actually the last year, well, a couple of years now, I've got to know Dave really well and been out there a couple of times, and it is just it's breathtaking just to go in there.
It is.
Yeah, yeah, and I love it. Everybody, and his history, and Dave is such a humble character himself as what he wants to do, and he'll talk to anybody. And I just, we talked to him in Autorama in Chicago. We talked to him all the time,
Yes.
and he helped us out with this tour that I have going on too. And his respect to the industry and the artist is just amazing. I love it.
And his talent is amazing.
Yeah, that's
The vehicles that he's created. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
His vehicles are unbelievable. Yeah,
Yeah.
The orchid, the iron orchid, and all that. Yeah, his just and the ones that he restores too is
Yes.
unbelievable what he does.
Yeah. And he's got such a neat spirit. He's been able to attend a few of our reunions and bring up the vehicles that he's done restoration with.
Oh, really?
And the first time he brought Tweety Pie in, I heard the engine start up, the tears just rolling down. I'm like, this is so cool to have Ed's car in the driveway.
Yeah, they
Yep.
have it go through.
Yep.
Yeah, and I can tell you're still and just talking with him, even though he's been passed for so many years. I mean, it's like he's still here with you all the time,
Yeah.
like it was yesterday.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, wouldn't that have been fun to have Ed turn the key on? And
Yeah, Edward. Yeah, Ed turn the key on that one
Yeah.
and go through and do it all.
yeah.
And now, so you being here, Salt Lake, is this basically you consider this your hometown show?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is the hometown show.
Oh, yeah. Anything in Utah.
Anything in Utah?
Yeah. Ed loved, oh my goodness, he loved the show. He loved going up to Peach Days. He loved doing the cruise in at Logan. Yeah, Cache Valley Cruise In.
Yeah, and when the other thing that a lot of people don't realize that I think, well, this generation doesn't, but I think a lot of them going on. Ed was famous for his trikes, and you were talking about that for sure. That was one of the things he started with very young.
Yeah. I said, so Ed, how was it, starting? And he said, well, California, on a Saturday, you could go down to the auction and have a little Harley Davidson.
Yeah.
25 bucks could buy you a Harley Davidson. Then you take it home and chop it.
Yeah.
And then Ed decided he wanted to make the 3-wheeler.
Yeah, he made it into
Trikes.
trikes and 3-wheelers. Yeah.
Then he made the trikes from scratch.
And he made them from scratch. And he would sell them as a kit, like almost like a model kit. He would sell them because of the liability. I
Yeah.
remember talking about that before. It's pretty neat how he did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we were able to grab the Asphalt Angel
Okay.
last summer. It came up for auction and we won the bid on it. So now it's in our museum also.
Okay.
So it's
With
pretty
the
cool.
museum. Yeah.
And the Asphalt Angel,
Yes.
yes, we received that we won the bid. When
Yeah,
the
you won the bid
museum-
when he passed. And that was only how many years ago?
last fall
Last fall.
they had the bid. Yeah.
Okay.
So the Asphalt Angel now is in our museum, and then Ed was working on the Burnout Boogie,
Okay.
and so that is an unfinished project that will always stay unfinished, and that's
You can
in
leave it
the
unfinished?
museum.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I said to Ed, so do you consider yourself an artist or a car builder? And I said, which do you enjoy the most? And he says, well, I consider myself a concept artist, and I really feel like I'm a car builder.
Okay.
So
Yeah, he was known for the car builders. And so did you know, obviously you know the whole history when he was building the models for all the kits and back in the day and how it all started?
I have learned those stories.
Learn those
Yes.
stories. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and in the museum and in the collection, you have pretty much everything that he's ever done and one off of, right? From his own private collection.
Well, when I married Ed and we would go to a car show, he says, we should take something new to the booth almost every time we go to a show.
Okay.
And I said, okay, sweetie, what about if we make this? And he says, oh, I've already done that. And I said, another item. And he says, oh, done that too. And I said, well, maybe you should show me everything that you've made. And then maybe I can come up with some ideas. And I said, so did you save one of everything? And he said, oh, no, that was for others to do.
That was for others to do.
Because his desire was to continue to create,
Okay.
you know. And so a few years after the museum opened, I had a good friend in Kentucky. He had a beautiful collection of Ed's things, and he was willing to share those with me. So I purchased them from him, and he said, I'll sell them to you if I can come and set it up. And
There you go.
So he drove it out, and everything is in there, and it's beautiful. So I feel like we have the older stuff along with all the products currently being produced.
Okay.
We asked for a sample of everything.
Yes,
And
for a
so
sample.
the museum's full now.
So you have a sample of everything ever created by Ed Roth
Well, since he passed.
since he passed.
Yes.
Right? And now, so even all the other all the other vehicles like the Johnny Lightnings and stuff like that get the Ed Roth cars and stuff like that. So that's all part of the major collection too, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's quite a line from everywhere.
There is. Yeah. We've saved
Everyone.
We've saved it. Yep. And so I'm really excited because at our home we have an actual 100% Rat Fink store. The only one in the world
The only one in the world
with only Rat Fink stuff.
with the only Rat Fink stuff. And now, so when is the museum open?
The museum's open usually every day that I'm home.
Every day that you're home.
Yep.
Okay.
So if we're
So-
out having a party, doing a car show,
Yeah. then
Yeah.
You're not doing it. Okay.
Right.
That's great. And now, so where do you see this going? No, you're just going to continue his legacy with new artists and keep going on and never let it pass.
correct. And my family said we want to keep going with the reunions. So when we actually have a reunion, we have between 60 and 70 artists that will come and set up.
And where does the reunion take place? By
At
you
our home.
At your home,
Uh-huh.
and you invite the public and everybody.
Yes.
In? Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And
great.
so for 3 days, our little teeny town of Manti, Utah,
It's crazy.
turns into a Rat Fink.
And what do you think
on
about that?
basis.
When that first happened, that was a pretty shock to you too, the reunion.
Well, the first year we only had 4 artists come,
Okay.
and we just had our tribute room built.
Okay.
And the next year we built the sunroom, and we had 8 artists there. And then it's just grown and grown. And
It's grown
after
from that.
after the museum opened, then I had a friend say, well, maybe I can help you with the car show. So we do a 3-day event, and on Saturday we have an actual car show also.
And about how many people attend this? Would you say
Several thousand.
several thousand now?
Yeah.
Going through town and coming to your house.
Yeah,
You love it, don't you?
I do.
It gets pretty crazy.
It totally makes life worthwhile.
Yeah, to go through and see the stories and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess we kind of skipped over a little bit, but when I first introduced you, it was Trixie Roth.
Yeah.
And now a lot of the big Roth fans and Ed fans know that there was the Rat Fink, and there was the female
Yeah.
rat that was his girlfriend, Trixie.
Right.
And you've adopted in the name of becoming Trixie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Trixie was around before you, but now Ed pretty much gave you that branding name, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, because everybody wanted to know who you were.
First time I needed to autograph something, I said, Ed, what do I do? And he said, what do you do about what? And I said, they want me to sign it. I don't want to sign my name. He said, you sign Trixie, you're Rat Fink's girlfriend.
And that stuck with you ever
And
since.
that, yeah, I thought I can do that.
You can do that.
Yeah.
That's the other picture we have to have on the wall yet. Maybe we can have Mike or his maybe we can have his wife put Trixie on the wall yet first. Next. So we can have both images. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And one artist gave me a little hot rod. He put a Trixie's hot rod. So now I have an official hot rod, but it's powered by pulling children in.
Oh, really? There you go.
It's one of those really cool hot rods.
Oh, that's so great. That is so
But
great.
my life isn't about stuff.
No,
Ed wasn't about stuff. It was about the memories.
about the memories.
And so when we have people come to the reunion, we feel like they become our actual family. So it isn't just a regular car show.
Right. And you get going. So it's not a regular car show when they do stuff. And
Right.
even with like Thomas and all the other ones go there. And Thomas has been a
Yeah.
good friend of yours for years, obviously.
Yes.
He was so excited to tell me that you were here yesterday.
Yeah, and we can hardly wait for the reunion so everyone can gather from all over the world, literally,
Yeah.
to come.
And when is the reunion every year?
It's always the first weekend in June.
First weekend in June.
Yeah, so
Okay.
this year we start in May because Saturday is June 1st.
Okay.
Yeah, so we do
That is
Thursday,
so cool.
Friday, Saturday.
That is so cool. And the history that has been going on, I don't see it ever slowing down. I don't, because every show, there's such an influence of Roth, no matter where you go and what we have going on.
Yep.
And of course, Rat Fink is everywhere.
Yep. And we do have new artists coming from Brazil and France this year and a couple from Japan. So
that'll be
I'm
you're
excited.
You're
to
very
meet
excited
them.
for
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I don't know if Ed would ever have thought, but I mean, yeah, he's in every store, no matter where you go.
Yep.
Every hobby store, no matter where you can find something Rat Fink there.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it is amazing. And it makes me really happy when people want to sign up to be a licensed artist and do it the correct way, because, Ed totally loved sharing Rat Fink with people.
mm-hmm.
And they'd say, well, so can we draw your Rat Fink? And he says, yeah, just, make sure you do the Roth copyright. And
Yeah.
so we've taken it one step further. And if they sign up, then it helps preserve his legacy.
Sure. That's
Yeah.
great.
So it's why it's
So did you ever think that you'd be carrying on the legacy of the most iconic few people in the world?
never, no,
When he came in, when he proposed to you that first time?
no,
Yeah.
because
You wouldn't change it for the world, would you?
I wouldn't change it now.
No.
no. I just feel so honored that I've been able to, be married to such an amazing guy
That is great.
and share the love that all these Rat Fink artists and people and the stories, like you said,
Yeah.
it is the most fulfilling thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, you ready to go back out to and meet and greet some people? It looks like the show is picking up here.
Yeah, the show is turning out huge.
Yeah, it's going to be really big.
Good for us.
Yeah, good for everybody. Yeah, good for all of us going through. And looks like you got some fans and want to come and talk to you some more.
Yeah,
You gonna go sit in a nice, comfortable chair for the rest of the day out there, or do you walk the booth all day?
I walk the
You
booth.
walk the booth all day
Yeah.
long, don't you?
Yeah. Yep. And what a pleasure it is to visit with you today.
Well, thank you very
It's
much.
been way fun to meet you.
Yeah,
And I can hardly wait to meet Jess.
Oh, she'll be. Yep, I'll be. We'll do later on when we slow down. We'll do a video call with her. She would love to meet you.
Yeah.
So yeah. She gets always carried away, and like I said, when we got businesses to run, she's got to go other places too. But she's a character in herself. She would love to. Yeah, she loves the story.
Yeah.
She definitely loves touching base with everybody. It's a lot of
So
fun.
maybe I should extend an invitation for you to come to Manti.
I think so. I think she would love that.
And
would
you
definitely
should
love
come during our reunion and you should.
Bring
You-
Jess along, and
Yeah.
Jess, there you go. We're going to the reunion,
Yeah.
and we'll definitely do that in June.
Then you can put other people in your,
Oh,
studio. and
We'd love to bring this out there and have fun, and and we'd have this whole thing filled up with Rat Fink artists.
yeah, you would.
They definitely love to do it. No, we would definitely. And like I said, it's been an honor just to talk to you and finally meet you. I knew, I knew the name, knew everything. And then, like I said, Thomas is a character in himself, and he was like a kid yesterday when he told me about that you were here.
Yeah.
And he wanted to get you on so bad. It was so cool.
Well, I'm really thankful that I've been able to visit with you. It's been fun.
I think
It
you were a
really
little
has.
nervous when we got here, but I think telling the stories, I think you've had so much fun just telling the story.
Yeah,
And
I loved talking about my sweetie.
Yeah, and he's enjoying life what he's doing now too, and he's always looking down and coming over his shoulder. I think I could tell after you first got in, you walked in, you were really nervous when we walked in. You weren't sure what to do.
Yeah.
And I think as you and I talked, and you said he's sitting on your shoulder, and I think it's almost like he's here with you because it's rolling right off for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'll let you get back in the show, and thank you very much, Trixie, for being here.
Thank you.
And you enjoy the show, all right?
I appreciate it.
Thank you, dear, so
Thank
much.
you.
Yes, of
Thank
course.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.